No, I think
no,
that's a different movie.
That's the Jonathan Krasinski movie.
Yes.
The
Silent Boys.
yeah, the artist.
The
That's what it's called. The Ron.
What is that movie
Ron,
called? They're coming out with a sequel. It's got his wife in it too.
Ramune.
That's the Japanese soda.
That's the Japanese soda.
Hello and welcome to the Side Attendant Podcast.
Whoa, dude, you're coming in super NPR, calm like. We gotta spit fire at these kids now.
I'm your host, Jordan Cole.
No, dude, don't say my last name. That's not. Why are you doxing me publicly? That's unfair. My name is
Lion
Gordon
Tchaikovsky.
Yeah. Hey guys, we're back and we've got more Nick Cage, we've got more movies, we got more blind shit. Dude.
Is that what you're talking about, spitting at them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta hit them hard, come out punching.
Okay.
Apparently, like, so it's a thing where I guess like I immediately just want to start talking about the movie, whereas you are organized in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And want to actually go through like some notes that you have.
Yeah. So
do we have anything?
I've heard some other podcasts that have been like really successful have like kind of like an outline, that they follow. So, like one of my favorite podcasts, it's so much my favorite that I can't think of the name of it. The No Sleep Podcast. They talk about like announcements and stuff in the beginning, and then they like introduce the spooky stories. It's spooky time now. It's September, so it's spooky time now. So they talk about like their stories. Like this first one is written by so-and-so, and make sure you never answer the door if you're home alone. And they like say something ominous, and then they like go into the story. And then at the end, they, wrap up and stuff. So
organization is key. I come out swinging, I'm yelling, and everything is action. Go.
Yeah.
Do it. But I guess we have a couple of small, large, medium rare announcements.
Yeah.
300 Facebook boys like us on Facebook. That's pretty cool.
Boys and girls and babies.
Yeah. Do we have any animals? Do we have any couples ones? Because those technically count as two, but Facebook doesn't count them as two.
I haven't seen.
Bob and Miranda Jones.
And like Bob and Miranda is one name.
Yeah. Bob Miranda. I think that usually means someone cheated, right?
Oh.
You don't want to touch it? I'll touch it. That means someone cheated. Okay. That means Bob was out looking for some strange dude.
He was out looking for that wet
Nope.
P word.
Nope. P word is female genitalia.
And we
gotta throw all this out. This is trash, dog.
This is not trash.
We're so disorganized.
It's so topical.
Okay.
We're like
50,
2 weeks from now.
50 Instagram likes though,
Yeah.
Followers,
not likes on Instagram.
Listen, I'm 100 years old. I'm a grandpa now.
I know.
But yeah, that's kind of weird, right? Like, I don't know. I guess Facebook's more like you can harass your friends more easily to come like your stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I don't believe that I sent out thousands of invitations on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, like us on the gram. We post all kinds of cool nudes and stuff like pretty frequently.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true.
Like sweet bikini. Like bikini pictures.
Of you in a bikini.
Like the one.
Like the Borat one.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the one where like when you're laying and you take the picture like so that you see your little feetsies and your little hot dog legs out in front of you.
What?
Yeah, I post those. I like when I'm laying out.
Mm-hmm.
To get my tan.
Yeah.
On Instagram. So if you want to see that, follow us on Instagram.com at Side Attendant Podcast. Except it's just at Side Attendant.
This is why you do not have access to the Instagram.
The Instagram specifically?
Yes.
I used Instagram for so long, and it's like one of the least accessible. So let's wrap a little bit on the accessibility for these different social medias, right? Like Facebook, close to as good as it can get. There's not really anything that's not like accessible with voiceover, except for like some of the marketplace stuff. Like when you go in there and you try to look for things on the marketplace, you can view like the first 3 items, but then it just gets stuck when you're using voiceover and you can't really scroll past anything. It's really strange. I don't know why. I've never been able to figure that out. But for the most part, Facebook's really good. A lot of people are jumping on the train of actually describing photos that they post, which is really cool. All of the tools and stuff are super accessible. Instagram, though, was, at least a few years ago when I was still trying to use it regularly, pretty tough to use with voiceover.
There's definitely alt text on it now. I don't know, like, if you've been on Instagram in the last couple of weeks.
No. Yeah. That's your Instagram is your jam.
Yeah. I dig on Instagram. Maybe you should be in charge of the Twitter. No, I've seen your Twitter. Never mind.
Yeah. Facebook's all I can post on the facebook.com. Other than that, don't really let me get too much out there because I'm nice on Facebook. Why? I don't know. You got grandmas and shit on there. I mean, the Instagram, you just assume that everyone just wants to see your butt. So you post your butt a lot. I thought you were just posting your little toesies and your hot dog legs. Well, that too, but like, sometimes people want a little bit of the backside too. You post that, you get that on the Instagram, you get all the likes. Mm-hmm. Then you can become a butt influencer. Mm-hmm. Then you can get like the underwear sponsorships and stuff. Mm-hmm. God, that onion thing that I saw this week, that Victoria's Secret is closing down because no women are attractive enough to wear their underwear. So good. What makes it so good, Jordan? Just that it highlights like the extreme version of what they already do. Mm-hmm. Like it takes what they basically do now, which is like the only women they put on there are straight up like came out of some like Russian lab and are like genetically engineered to have like their legs be like 60 to 65% of their total body height. Mm-hmm. Must be under 106 pounds. Wow. But also 6'4", like, so they just went ahead and took it to the extreme. They're totally closing down. Realistic. No one, like that's their jam now as it is. So like, I thought it was pretty funny. I just like it when you explain. That's all. Oh yeah, no, I'll explain myself all day. I don't give a shit. So yeah, the Instagram moderately accessible, I guess now. They made some changes. I see alt text, but I haven't turned the voiceover on my phone. Okay. To see what that actually looks like. Yeah, if any of y'all here do this fun, here's a little play along at home. If you have an iPhone, ask Siri to turn on voiceover. Oh boy, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, just play around in there and see how you like it. And that'll give you like some sense of how I use my iPhone. And then obviously if you want out and you panic and don't realize that you don't know how to use it, just ask Siri to turn it back off and you'll be safe and sound. So. For a lot of iPhone users, the shortcut is like your lock button 3 times. Yeah, just triple tap it. Yeah. Don't tap it 5 times though, dog. Whoa, boy. I got this new iPhone, right? So I'm so used to using my shortcut to turn voiceover on and off. Tap, tap, tap. You're good to go. Voiceover. Well, you get so used to tapping it like that, and then you get a new iPhone from Steve Jobs, and apparently there's a new shortcut that calls 911 immediately. Well, because Jordan just recently updated his phone from like an iPhone 4 to an iPhone 11. That's not true. So he still had a home button, whereas those of us who have been in the 2010s haven't had a home button in a few years. All right, it was the fake home button still. It wasn't like a real button. It was still the fake one. Yeah, that was creepy. I always hated that when my phone would die and I'd be like, oh, it's not a real button anymore. It was like the intermediate button between button and not button. So anyway, yeah, don't call 911, but do try out voiceover, see if you like it.
Yeah, when Jordan handed me his phone to do voiceover for the first time, I panicked. I was like, "Oh, like I was holding something."
She actually made all 3 of those sounds. She did. Yeah, it's strange to get used to, but honestly,
it's super easy if you actually like take the time to look at the tips or read up on it, or like
spend less than 7 minutes looking into exactly how to use it. And it's honestly, I mean, yeah, it's just like any, just imagine it as a computer. Move your cursor around, then click on stuff.
And honestly, like I've definitely used it to kind of cheat before. Like if you have like a headphone, like an AirPod or an earbud or whatever in, and for some reason like you don't have access to being able to see your phone, or if you want to like text during a movie or something,
or text during a very important work meeting.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like you're doing anything because your phone screen is off. Oh, you can turn it on and off. So like you can turn your phone screen completely off and it'll still like navigate around.
when I'm using my phone, typically I'd say like 70% of the time, at least somewhere in there, my screen is completely black. There's a tool called Screen Curtain, and it's pretty useful because y'all sighted folks, if you're looking at something you may not want other people to see, pornography, on the public transit, and someone tries to look over your shoulder, y'all sighted folks can see them trying to get that neck, looking at it. Whereas I can't necessarily detect whether or not someone's creeping on my phone. So there's a nifty little tool called Screen Curtain where my screen is just completely black and I could be reading all the crazy stuff that you should not be reading on public transit without anyone knowing. So
I like to use it for...
It's good for keeping secrets.
Secrets, that's what I like to use it for. Also, if you're a fan of like watching Netflix or Hulu at work when you should be working, you can just, pop a little head boy in, and just turn your screen curtain on, and your Netflix and your Hulu should continue to work.
Oh, yeah. Anything that is going on the screen will continue to play. Like, I guess some people don't have the YouTube Premium, which, again, thanks. Got that from you.
You're welcome.
Where, like, you can background YouTube and it'll continue to play. So, like, turn on voiceover, turn on Screen Curtain, and you can have whatever you want up playing. Like you said, your Netflix or your Hulu's, and no one's the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
So it's useful. Try it out. Yeah.
And I mean, who watches their Hulu or their Netflix anyway? It's always on the background when you're scrolling through, looking at your memes and shopping on your Amazons and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, so with audio description, for me, like, obviously can't see anyway. So there's not necessarily any reason for me to be even looking in the direction of the television or laptop or whatever it is that it's playing on. So, like, I can as easily be, like, cleaning up my room or making dinner in the other room, like anything I want to be doing, and still absorbing most of whatever is playing on Netflix or Hulu if it has audio description. And if it doesn't have audio description, well, it wouldn't matter if I was there staring at it anyway. Whereas with you, it's a little bit different in that, like, you're still able to get some of the visual. And obviously, if you're not in the room, you're not going to be getting that.
That's very true. It's very true.
Do you want to talk about a movie? I think we did.
I was going to say we should get to your favorite part, which is talking about the actual movie. You like to just jump into that meaty boy.
Yeah. This one was... should we jump, like, go... So typically, I feel like we give our ratings at the end, but by then it's pretty easy for people to figure out what it's going to be. I enjoyed this one. I thought this was really good. What was it called?
Pay the Ghost.
Pay It Forward.
Nope. No, we already talked about Pay It Forward before when you thought that Helen Hunt was in every single movie you've ever seen.
Helen Hunt wasn't in this one either, though, right?
She was not, no.
Okay. So, yeah, this one was called Pay the Ghost. We watched it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
There was no audio description. So again, a little bit of a struggle. Some of it, I mean, the nature of these like spooky time movies, because this was very specifically,
It was a thriller.
this movie, yeah, and this movie took place like on Halloween, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, part of the nature of like these spooky movies, like I guess this, what other, like Hereditary, Midsommar, Insidious. I'm trying to think of like Strangers, like that kind, like all that. Those movies, that chunk of movie, spookies, have this thing where you'll get stretches of like 45 seconds to a minute and a half of just complete silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where without audio description, I have absolutely no idea what's happening.
What was that one? Oh, It Comes at Night.
Oh, that movie.
I think like 90% of that movie, you were not able to know
There's
what
nothing,
was going on.
yeah,
Because
no.
there's just no noise, no nothing.
Yeah, because if you make sounds, the spooky boy will come and get you.
No, I think that's a different movie.
That's the Jonathan Krasinski movie.
Yes.
The
Silent Boys.
yeah, the artist.
The
That was what it's called. The Ron.
What is that movie
Ron-
called? They're coming out with a sequel. It's got his wife in it too.
Ramune.
That's not Japanese soda.
That's the Japanese soda. Shucks. I don't know. It was the little moderately ableist.
The deaf
The
girl
silence.
was in it.
The silence of the night. God damn. We're gonna. Let's do a little cutsy. We'll be right back. After the brief messages.
Elevator music. A Quiet Place.
Got it. It was A Quiet Place. Sorry, we're back. We did the thing where we jumped off. Okay. So, A Quiet Place. I guess there was some like weird ableism stuff with that.
Have you not actually seen it?
No.
Why?
I tried.
It's a quiet movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, I try to focus on movies that are dialogue heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't watched There Will Be Blood since I lost my sight because
because
don't
it's a
even
terrible
get outta
movie.
here.
Is it because it's a terrible movie?
yeah. I mean,
Oh.
okay. We can listen. It's a good movie.
It's a terrible movie. Anyway, so yeah, there's a little girl in it. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater like 3 years ago. But there's a little girl in it, Jonathan Krasinski's daughter.
Oh, is it his actual daughter?
I don't think so.
Oh, damn it.
She is deaf.
Yes.
And there's something about like a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And
The monster can only get you when you make noise, I think, is the jam, right?
yeah.
It's basically Bird Box, but for deafness. Same idea.
Yeah.
Because in Bird Box, right, the monster can only get you if you look at it, right? Dumb. Anyway, we're talking about a Nick Cage movie, right?
Yeah.
Called Pay the Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you want to give me a rundown?
Is it my rundown time?
I don't know. Did I
think it. Oh yeah, because I 2 episodes ago I did the rundown.
Yeah. So hit me with it. What's the jam here?
All right. So we come in on Nicolas Cage next to a little girl's bed. Oh wait, no. Okay. This time
It's a little boy.
It's a little boy. And he complains about like seeing a little monster outside of his window. Goes to his mom and says, "Hey, I'm scared." And dad's not home. Nicolas Cage is dad. And I'm going to break our tradition and say that Nicolas Cage's name is Michael. Because we like end up telling his character name at like the very end.
Right, we just refer to him as Nick Cage the whole time. Is he hot in this one?
He's, I wouldn't say hot. He's attractive.
Okay.
He's wearing a sweater vest. He's a professor.
All right, I'm down.
He's a professor of spooky stories. That's really all I got from his scenes.
Yeah, because his scenes were, well, okay, so.
It is spooky time.
Right. Like when you're in any level of schooling, and spooky time approaches or Christmas time approaches, occasionally you'll get a professor, teacher, or instructor that will steer the instruction towards whatever season we're in.
Indeed.
Sometimes that's neat. Most of the time it's not.
So he's sweater vest dad, Professor Man. So the little kid is scared, ends up sleeping with the mom until the dad comes home.
Oh,
They're
gross.
in... Jordan, we're not talking about the kids. Anyway, until dad comes home, they live in my least favorite city. I'm about to alienate some people.
Oh, dog. Here we go.
I hate New York City. Hate it. Can't stand it. Smelliest place on earth. Anyway, they live in New York City.
For the record, I enjoy most of the city. Yeah, it's good. It's a good city sometimes. It's good food, good people, loud. Everyone's we're grumpy. But the other parts of New York are also really good. So
You mean like the other parts of the state of New York, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I fully agree. I've been to some other places, and I thoroughly enjoyed those places.
Yeah, my dog's from New York.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
He's a good boy. So, you can't really, some good
No,
things.
I hate New York City. That's why I specifically said New York City, not the
What
whole
about
state.
New York City in 1776?
That's the greatest city in the world
The
during
greatest
that
city
time.
in the world? Is it the greatest city and the greatest city in the world?
In New York, you can be a new man.
That's true.
Nicolas Cage is a semi-old man in this film. It's clear that he doesn't spend enough time at home with his kid and his wife.
Aw.
Yeah.
What a absent father.
Yeah. He promised to carve a pumpkin with his kid and, cats in the cradle and etc. So we cut to him reading a creepy story in his class. I think it was who's that Cthulhu man?
So Lovecraft specifically, but it wasn't a Lovecraft story that he was talking about. It was some other guy that I wasn't familiar with.
Oh.
But then after that,
he referenced Lovecraft.
Yeah, he tells everyone like, "Hey, get your Lovecrafts, get your Poes, and everybody have a good time."
Yeah. And then later on, he reads a Sleepy Hollow story. So that's why I think he's just Dr. Professor Creepy Class.
Right.
So they're getting ready for Halloween. The kid is going to be a pirate.
Which, by the way, eye patch stuff, kind of offensive to blind people. Not really at all. Zero offensive.
Okay, you can only speak for yourself, though. You can't really speak for anyone else.
Yeah, I know there was that whole thing about Dan Crenshaw, that the eye patch thing, a couple years ago. I don't know what time is anymore, but a couple years ago, Dan Crenshaw, a representative, I think from Texas, who lost his eye in the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, and someone on Saturday Night Live made some jokes about him looking like a villain or something. That got some hot heat.
Hot heat.
Yeah, but I actually did wear an eye patch for a short little bit.
Why is that?
So we talked about this last time or the time before, that it's come up. The eye disease that I have actually caused me to lose sight in one of my eyes, to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of 6 to 8 weeks, the other one started to go. So the blind spot in my bad eye during those 6 to 8 weeks was really bothersome, right? So rather than just walk around with one of my eyes closed, occasionally I would use an eye patch to make things a little bit easier on myself, because then the only vision that I would have would be perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
That would eliminate the blind spot altogether. I don't know if that's a common thing for people who have trouble with just one eye, is to just cover it up and get it out of the way. I know there are things called occlusion lenses or exclusion lenses. I'm not sure what, but they can be surgically implanted over troubled spots in your eye. So I don't know if anyone else would use the eye patch thing, but yeah, it's not actually offensive to me.
Well, for the record, this child had it painted on.
Oh, that's the dumbest thing ever.
Wow.
That child is stupid. I mean, that's so not functional, right?
You hate children,
what?
A, in general, 2, you hate children in films often.
I mean, most of the time they're pretty bad actors. But like, okay, so
Not
the
this one.
the purpose of an eye patch, right, is to cover up either some trouble you've had with the actual physical eye, right, or to prevent light from getting to your eye. Painting it on does not do either of those things.
1, he is a child.
Okay.
And he's just going trick-or-treating. It's not functional either way.
Authenticity.
If anything, it's a hindrance for him to be able to see at night.
Oh my God, I can't believe you left out the coolest part of this movie, the opening intro scene, which you told me about as it was happening because I was like confused. Again, most of these movies have these like cold opens, right? Where it's like a scene happens.
And there's God, how did I forget that scene?
I don't know. I have no idea. So the scene happens that we jump to is in like 1776. I don't know. It's
just kidding.
At some point, 1600 something, right?
In New York City.
In New York City, and it's this family being basically murdered, and children are in the cellar or basement, one of the two, under the house-ish zone, right?
Yeah, and they're like listening to their mom.
She's becoming murdered by someone.
Maybe.
Yeah. Ooh, who knows? Mystery, spooky. But one of the kids, like an idiot, again, kids, dumb, yells out, "Mama," or something like that. Like,
Mother.
Yeah. Like, dude, are you trying to get murdered in addition to your mother being murdered? Apparently the answer was yes. So then that was like that cold open scene, which again, we had one in The Between Worlds, which was the lady under the ice. We had one in, I think we had one, did we have one in Gone in 60 Seconds? There was a weird, oh yeah, but there was a lot of
he like goes and
dialogue
the
and
car.
stuff. Yeah, there was dialogue for it. So
I was thinking, was City of Angels, was there one?
I don't remember.
We're going to just like keep
Maybe
on going with all the ones that we've done already. I can't believe we remember half the ones that we've done already.
It's crazy. So yeah, I don't remember. Either way, there was a cold open scene for this one, and it was fine, a little bit spooky. But again, no real context for people that can't actually see the movie that's taking place. So without audio description, I was left to wonder. And without Ashley there, it would have been a pointless movie for me to watch without audio description, or at least someone there to say like, hey, what's...
Well, yeah, and because the scene like plays into it later on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important.
So with where we are now, Nick Cage is closing out his class, telling spooky stories, is a bad dad-ish.
Yeah, he's supposed to get home and go trick-or-treating with his son, but he is late for some reason that I didn't write down. And they go trick-or-treating without him, and like he ends up oh boy, I'm making noise over here. They go trick-or-treating without him. Trick-or-treating goes fine. Mom and son are on the way home, and the son's like, oh, can we go to the Halloween carnival? Because apparently that's a thing. Like, I want to go to a Halloween carnival. Yeah. I've never been to a Halloween carnival before. So yeah, she says no because it's Betty Bye time. He's got to get up for school or whatever the next day. They come home. Dad's home. He hasn't spent any time with the child, and so he's like, why don't we go to the carnival? And Mom's like, I already said no. And of course, like, they win the mom over anyway. She stays home. They go to this kick-ass Halloween carnival, which maybe that's the only thing that New York City has going for it. Who knows?
Their Halloween carnival. That's what they're kind of known for them.
Are they?
Yeah.
Really?
No. Come on.
I believed you.
I know.
Ugh.
I know. You poor soul. So yeah, they go to the Halloween carnival and they're dicking around with some funhouse mirror. Kid says some weird shit. What does he say? He says the title of the film.
What's the title of the film, Jordan?
Daddy, can we pay the ghost? Minus the daddy part. That's not part of the film title.
It's our film title.
The film Daddy, can we pay the ghost? So the kid asks, like, hey, can we, excuse me, father, can we pay the ghost? The dad's like, what the shit? The dad is Nick Cage here. What are you talking about? And then they get distracted by something else.
Well, he goes and he goes and he actually pays a clown to give them ice cream.
Which, for the record, clowns, not ghosts. Those are different things.
I was very confused because I was like, that's very clearly a clown. Why are you saying pay the ghost? And then Nick Cage looks down. Bum, bum, bum.
Kid's gone. Immediate, full-blown 10,000% panic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am not a father. I am not a mother. I don't have children. So I don't necessarily know the panic associated with losing a kid. However, I still think that he immediately went to 10,000% and just started screaming and losing his shit. When the reality is, the kid's probably about 8 steps away, standing behind the fat guy eating a hot dog, right?
Jordan.
Like, do you immediately freak? Do parents? Okay, parents.
But listen, do you remember what it feels like when people say, "I can't find Olive in the garage"?
Oh yeah, I definitely know the feeling of like, hey man, I lost your cat, which sometimes for some reason seems to be a thing lately. Like if I have someone like, hey, can you feed my cat while I'm gone for the weekend? So I'm like, yeah, sure, I got you, but I'll lose her a bunch of times. I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks.
So you don't go 10,000%.
Yeah, you get pretty freaked out. So I mean I get it, but it just seemed like, and again, harsh criticism on Nick Cage here. I love him so much, but like occasionally I feel like he overacts just like a little bit.
Yeah, just occasionally. Not very often.
Did you get lost as a kid?
Probably.
You don't have like a distinct memory of like a time that like you got lost?
Mm-mm.
So I got lost in a Walmart when I was a kid. And so okay, there are a few different like classes of Walmart in this world. There are the gigantic, humongous super Walmarts, right? Before those, though, there were regular Walmarts. They were small. They were the size, I would say, roughly of like what like a regular old drugstore is now, like a CVS, Walgreens, that kind of deal. Small little guys, right? I got lost in one of those. I was maybe 7. And the deal is, if you cry, someone will find you. And so I did that. I cried. And then an employee of Walmart found me and took me to the front of the store, right? And like at this point, you're like, oh, I think I'm probably in trouble, dude. So you go with them. They hold your hand for some reason. Now,
nope.
Oh boy, not you. Nope. You just poke at the kid with a long, like a broom.
Back away from the child, sir.
So nowadays, though, a little different. But back then, yeah, they held my hand. They walked me up to the front of the store. They did the old page buttons on the phone. They call. Real strategy here. They said, is there a name of my mother? I won't dox my mom, but is there this person's name? Because I told them, my mom's name or whatever. Lost somewhere in the store? Please come to the front. They did me a solid and blamed my mom for getting lost, dude.
Wow.
Which I think was a strategy on their part to like keep me from freaking the fuck out and calling me lost.
Well, your name's Jordan. They'd never call you lost.
Thanks, Dad. So yeah, got lost once. I'm surprised. Jesus, I'm surprised you don't have like a distinct memory because I feel like I've talked.
I also have a garbage memory.
Oh yeah, that helps too.
I have been told that my parents like left me on the counter at a Walmart one time, but I don't know if that's true.
I feel like that's just a threat. Like some parents now would be like, "I'll take you back to the store I bought you at." Like, okay, whatever, get out of here. I'll call CPS on you, Mom.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, see, I didn't know what that was until I was in like college. So.
Yeah, same. I didn't either. But like, imagine like a kid just straight like 8-year-old just threatening his parents. Feel like, listen, get your shit straight, or I'm calling the authorities on you.
I feel like that's probably more common now.
Sure, yeah. Now kids are so smart now. Kids are like all on the iPads and shit. Like, you give a kid an iPad at 3 years old, dude.
Yeah.
You see those stories.
Give a moose a muffin.
Yeah, you see those stories on like Facebook and stuff about parents who are like, yeah, my kid was reading an actual magazine the other day and just swiping on the page, expecting it to turn.
Oh my gosh!
Like, whoa, you broke the kid. The kid's broken for sure. So anyway, kid's lost now. Nick Cage freaking out.
Yeah, Nick Cage freaking out. He didn't go like full Nick Cage like he likes to do.
Yeah, we didn't get any interesting like yelling. Well, okay, not in this part. We get some good yells in this. This one.
Yeah.
But we didn't get any like no yelling or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But so where do we go from here? He runs. Oh, so like he looks around for like 3 or 4 minutes. It seems like at the carnival.
He like asks someone who's dressed. To me, they were dressed up as a police officer. I don't know if they actually were, and I was like half expecting him to be like, "Sir, I'm not actually a police officer. We're at a Halloween carnival."
Right. What do you think?
But he asked really good questions like, "Sir, when did you last see your son? Sir, do you live close by?" So like, cop talk.
Right.
So he was either a really good actor or an actual cop. Who knows? But yeah, then he runs home because the cop says, "Sir,
maybe your kid just went home."
Yeah, maybe your kid just went home because they lived close by. So he runs home, finds just the wife, and she's like, "Where's the son?" I don't remember his name. They said it like 100,000 times. What's the son's name, Jordan?
Max.
No.
Marty.
No.
I don't remember. Are we really that?
Kyle.
Is it Kyle?
I don't know.
Oof, Kyle's bad name. No Kyles. This'll date when this podcast came out.
Let's not talk about that. So he can't find his son. Then he like goes up into his room and is like looking out the window.
Dude,
do you remember what happened?
Even the audio in this part, like there was some killer spooky audio. So some of the spookiest audio I think in all of the scary movies that I've seen since losing my sight. There are a few spooky audios. Spooky audio in Midsommar. There's some really good spooky audio. And the spooky audio in Insidious. Really great spooky audio in there.
And like, you had seen that with your good optic nerves too before, right?
Yes.
Insidious?
Yeah. Okay. So I've seen the movie Insidious, and I think that it's generally a good movie for the first 2 acts. The third act is absolute dog shit when they go into like the don't look under the bed land. That I'm not down on that. But first 2 acts were spectacular. And the audio in particular, like really, really well done. And in this movie, I think it's close to like on that level. Some of the music is a little bit misplaced, but like in general, the spooky audio is really good. And there is the Nick Cage goes to look out the window where the kid saw the spook, and he went, and we get like a jump scare right there.
Oh my god.
And it even got me like hard. Like it hits.
Yeah, like the window shatters and there's like a creepy woman's face like right there in his face.
Yeah. It was
good. I got super got.
Yeah, that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
We get a few good jump scares in this, right? Like that one,
yeah,
and then a couple others.
Yeah. So fast forward almost a year. The son is still missing.
Yeah, you get like the old SpongeBob SquarePants, like 1 year later. That thing happens.
And the
Nick Cage
couple's not together.
Yeah, they're done so.
Longer.
Which this reminds me, something interesting. So there are certain actors and actresses that I'm like really good at picking up who their voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you hear like Nick Cage's voice, obviously like that's a pretty easy one. Trying to think of other actor. Bob Saget. You hear Bob Saget's voice, pretty obvious.
Norm Macdonald. Pretty
obvious. Like there are handfuls of these guys who like are very obvious with their voice, right? And there are some women like that are pretty clear too. This woman though, I didn't realize who it was until I went to look something up about this movie. The female lead in this movie is Sarah Wayne Callies, who is the female lead in Prison Break, and
Rick's wife.
Yeah, Rick's wife in The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could call her like a female lead, moderate lead for the first like 2 seasons, right?
Lori.
Yeah.
I hate calling someone's spouse usually, but I couldn't think of her name at the time.
Yeah. It is a little bit different, so you're not like diminishing their worth as a character when they're legitimately the spouse of the main dude, right?
Yeah.
Like to call someone like, if you were watching like Wonder Woman, to call it like, oh yeah, that's Wonder Woman's husband or whatever, like boyfriend or whoever, like that's the main dude. I don't think that's necessarily as bad as like, like
if I were to call like Rick Lori's husband.
Yeah.
Like,
Some some dumb dude. Yeah. Like, or, shoot, like basically any of the X-Men. Like, oh yeah, that girl that hangs out with the Wolverine. That's Storm. She's a kind of big deal. Like, like, like it's not necessarily as diminishing if it's their relation to the main character, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Blast me in the comments if I'm wrong.
In the comments, and send us an email. We have gotten 0 emails. I want an email, man.
I mean, people are just so used to being able to like interact in the Facebook messages and the comments and that kind of stuff that I don't know that, like, I don't know. Yeah, shoot us an email.
Please do.
Go ahead. Tell me how wrong I am about
everything.
Diminishing the worth of female performance artists and calling them the husband's wife. Whatever it is. So yeah, it's that lady, right?
Yeah.
And I did not recognize her voice at all. And I enjoy Prison Break, which go ahead, blast me for that in the comments too. I really enjoyed Prison Break, and she's one of the main characters in that. Her voice is moderately recognizable, but I just didn't grab it. So
to be fair, I don't know like how much dialogue she has.
Right. She's got a few lines, but it's mostly them just panicking about the kid, right?
Right, yeah.
So now we're at our 1 year out. It's Nick
almost
and
1
wife.
year, yeah.
And
he's just like kind of like wandering around trying to figure things out. He's been working with the police officer in charge of like the investigation of the disappearance of a particular child that is his. Just trying to put some cop talk in there.
Can you identify the whereabouts of this particular individual? On what occasion did you last see the particular individual? Were they on, about, or adjacent to the given roadway? Yeah, that's some cop talk right there.
Yeah, and Nick is going around NYC putting up some missing posters. He's got his own fancy like stapler. And there's like, I wrote down this thing, like there are all these like unsupervised children around just like skateboarding and like all these like 7 to 9 year olds just like
little ratty New York kids
doing their thing all unsupervised. Maybe they do things differently in New York City. And he ends up like finding some graffiti under a bridge or something that says "Pay the Ghost."
He's like, those are the last words my child said to me before he disappeared.
He also said that is the name of the film.
That's the name of the film. I can't believe this.
That's such a coincidence.
Holy cow.
But then he meets
a blind person. We are 2 films. This is 2. Were there blind? I almost did the blindy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You almost did a whole ableist on yourself.
Yeah. Were there blind people in any of the other? It was just this one, and then City of Angels had a blind
mention.
They talked about a blind lady at a diner. Were there blind people in any?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so we got 2 mentions at least.
Mm-hmm.
In the first like 6 movies we watched. That's pretty hot.
Yeah.
The kids say like that's real lit, right?
Please stop. So he's under this bridge. There are a lot of like homeless people and things, and like he hears this like woman wailing, and the blind man comes around and he tells everyone to cover the you know how the trash cans with the fire and stuff to stay warm, and he tells them to cover them all until the moaning stops. And
we have to hide from moaning Myrtle right now. She is very upset.
She is pissed.
And we gotta hide.
So, and I would love to call him anything other than blind man, but that is what he is credited as. He is credited as blind man.
Yeah. Which he has almost as much or maybe more dialogue than Sarah Wayne Callies, the lady, Lori.
Yeah.
What's her name? What's she credited as?
Boy, Kristen. Yeah.
So he has, I'd say as many lines as her, right?
Yeah, probably.
So this guy, turns out, I looked him up. He's not actually blind, which is fine. There's a push like there are blind people in this world pushing for more representation, because for some reason there's been this recent trend. You've seen it, you know it. Check it out. Bird Box. Heard of it? Yeah, you have. Huge movie. Netflix hit it out of the park with that thing. I thought it was a 4 at best, but that's fine. It still was very successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. Then there are like 3 or 4 other blind movies or TV shows that came out around the same time. Like there's one on the CW where this girl's just like bumbling around like an idiot. Pretty offensive, but I guess that later they did some consulting with like actual like blind federations and foundations and got a little better handle on it. So that, and then the Apple TV Plus show, See. I just found this out. You're going to be very excited for this news. I did not know this. Do you know about the show?
No.
Okay, so there's a show on Apple TV Plus, whatever their stupid service they're trying to get going, right? It's about a future where there's like a disease, not coronavirus, but similar, where the only people that survive have lost their sight.
Whoa.
So it's a future in which all the people are blind. Fine, right? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you ready for the funnest of the fun facts about this shit?
I can't wait.
Starring Jason Momoa.
What?
Not kidding.
We're gonna watch this, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So to anyone that's listening that doesn't know what I look like, I get more often than I tie my shoes, I get people telling me that I look like Jason Momoa. I don't get it. But apparently other people do get it, and they think that I look like Jason Momoa. So you can see if you go to our Facebook page, if you haven't seen what I look like.
Or our Instagram.
Yeah.
Lots of Jordan on the Instagram.
Lots of booty pics on there too.
Okay.
So go on there and see.
Your booty looks nothing like Jason Momoa's.
Yeah.
He's like 6'10".
That's fine. Go, yeah, just tell me, maybe we should post a poll.
Maybe.
Do I or do I not look like Jason Momoa? So yeah, I just thought it was crazy. I finally saw some like I got like a Facebook ad for it or something.
So it's like you're in the show.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah. Real wild.
I wonder what their audio description stuff is like.
Oh my God.
Because we have it, remember? We have it for like a year for free.
Dumb, yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see, like, I'll be pissed if there is not audio description for a show specifically about blind people. That's some bullshit.
Does Bird Box have audio description?
That is not just bullshit. That's dog shit.
Frisco takes offense to that.
To quote Nick Cage from
the very first episode.
Yeah. Callback. Yeah, Bird Box has audio description.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fine.
Let's get back to the film.
Yeah, let's get back to the film. So we meet this blind guy.
Blind man.
A few things about the blind guy. One, he's a really cool Canadian actor. He's not actually blind, but he's done like 200 films. He's like 75 years old now. And yeah, he just acts his ass off, right? 200 films is just wild to me. Like to do
That's
200
like twice as many as Nick Cage has right now.
It's crazy. So anyway, in this movie, what is his appearance?
He's got long dreads.
Where do we stand on that?
Like white people.
White people dreads? Not cool, right?
I'm not.
It's out.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
If you're a grandpa, I think you can do it, just by nature of the fact that you're, no one typically tells grandpas what to do.
Yeah, but maybe they should.
Oh. Yeah, I guess we're there now, right?
Yeah.
Cancel your grandpa. Everybody, go cancel your grandpa.
Anyway, longish dreads, sunglasses on in the dark.
Are you telling me that this man looks like white George Clinton?
Yeah, actually. Except George Clinton's, his dreads are just wild and amazing and long and huge.
I mean, they're like down, like past his waist, right?
Yeah,
like
they're
some
really
shit.
good.
I accidentally attended a George Clinton concert once.
How does that happen?
I actually didn't attend. We left as the concert was occurring. We were at a brewery all day, drinking beers.
Oh, is that what you do at a brewery?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And these people start rolling in, just like tons of people. It starts like packing out, right? Pre-COVID. So like you're fine and comfortable with it packing out. You're like, man, this is awesome. So full of people. I'm touching people and stuff.
What?
And people are like breathing my air. It was awesome. But then some guy's like, man, you guys here for the concert? I'm like, nah. He's like, yeah, George Clinton, in like 25 minutes. I'm like, okay. So then we left.
So then you left. Okay.
Well, it was apparently
Cool
like
story, Jordan.
it was. That's the story of the time I almost saw George Clinton. So yeah, this blind guy looks like George Clinton apparently, but all white version.
Mm-hmm. He's got a cane. He has it in his right hand initially when he approaches Nick Cage, and then he switches to his left hand.
Okay, so for the record, for people listening who aren't familiar with or don't know blind people, don't do that. We're not a homogeny. But as far as I know, most blind people that I know stick to one because you become very comfortable with it. You become very familiar with it and you use one hand. So just bad acting on that guy's part. Do a little more research.
But they didn't really do any like terrible like blind jokes or anything. There's a sassy one towards the end, but that we'll get there. So anyway, he shows Nick Cage to this place where like a whole wall says "Pay the Ghost" all over the place.
Which like sweet art, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then Nick Cage is like, "Whoa, this is weird. Okay, I gotta figure something else out." He goes home and he's looking at the video. So Jordan forgot to mention that at the carnival, the son is taking video of the carnival.
Okay, so here's something weird about that. Kids taking video. You told me that was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids taking video. Presumably, at least I thought at the time, on a phone. Because we're in such modern times that you think like, damn, everything, anytime you take a video or a picture, you're taking it on a phone. Nope, wrong. Because a few minutes after the kid disappears, Nick Cage is freaking out, asking everybody, like, where's my kid? Where's my kid? And one guy goes, why don't you just call him? And Nick Cage yells at the guy. He goes, he's 7. He doesn't have a phone. And the guy's like, just chill, dude. Like, lots of 7-year-olds have phones now, man.
Yeah, especially now.
So, yeah, the kid's taking video. Nick Cage goes back, looks
on
at the video.
On a camcorder.
Yeah.
Nick Cage goes back to look at the video. Everything's cool beans. He gets called away from the table and then goes back to the table. And all of a sudden, there's this like new footage on there of a cabin. So he's watching this cabin footage and it zooms into the front door.
The audio here is very obvious too, like super spooky town.
Ugh. And it zooms in real fast into the cabin, and all of these kids are wearing ye olden time like Halloween masks.
Which I remember, I don't know if it was like a Reddit thing from a long time ago, but I distinctly remember seeing some creepy ass pictures of kids in like olden timey Halloween masks. Like basically any time before like 1960, there was not like this industry behind like commercialized Halloween masks, right? So like what these kids had on their faces was like straight the scariest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, not cool bean. And then meanwhile, the mom, she's living somewhere else. She's living back at their house that they were living in. And she wakes up in the middle of the night and starts hearing freaky noises and stuff. And she goes downstairs. And there's
a Razor scooter just wheeling its way around their house.
Just by itself. I'm like, I just got chills like talking about it right now. Yeah. And then it just like falls over in front of her. And I just, not my jam.
Yeah, spooky town. So much stuff. Like, they just kind of go back and forth, and Nick is looking more.
So he does this like PI work, and he finds out that like on every other day of the year, more children who go missing are found, except on Halloween.
On Halloween, the spooky comes out.
And that's when he tries to like slide back into his wife's life. There we go.
Slide back into his wife too. I mean, come on, am I right? Huh?
Stop. There was a sexy scene earlier in the film. Anyway, he tries to slide back into her life and her DMs by like showing her all this stuff. So they're basically like their own private investigators now.
It's kind of the typical, like, I feel like any movie where there's like a kid that's missing or like a harm done to a kid in some way, the parents are really like fighting about it, standoffy, and like it's the thing that brings them back together.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, if
that-
they think that there's like hope or something,
Right. Like,
and they're like always like butting heads with the police. Like at one point in time, Nick Cage is like, "You people are lazy," and then the police officer, Detective Jordan, pulls out like the file on his kid and slams it on the desk, and he's like, "NYPD might be a lot of things, but lazy's not one of them." So
yep, they are a lot of things.
they certainly are a lot of things. So they end up like getting a medium to come and like check out their house, because at this point, like they've both had freaky shit happen to them, and they're like, we want to find our son, and we know that something weirder shit happened to him, because they both say like, I can feel that he's alive. I know that we're kind of like making fun of the way that they talk and stuff, but I really enjoyed this film as well.
I thought,
Yeah, it was scary. It was very scary to me.
Yeah, I feel like this movie kind of just like slid under everyone's radar. Like,
yeah.
it definitely had, again, like we'll get to this more in the ratings, like talking about like what overall our rating and stuff was, but like I just feel like it slid under a lot of people's radar, and there were definitely some troubled spots, but like in general, this was hitting for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like better director and a little bit better writing, but I mean overall, yeah. Anyway, we have to get to that yet. So there's a medium. She ends up like she looks out the same window that Nick Cage did earlier in the film when we both got, and it ends up like blasting her away into like the wall behind her, some spirit of some kind, and like choking her, and like it looks like she's like bleeding black out of her eyes.
She gets poltergeisted,
and nose and stuff, and then she gets thrown on the floor, and then we like find out that like she just got burned from the inside, which was wild. So that happens. Of course, the detective is like, don't go anywhere. Like, you are, you're basically suspects. And
if someone dies in your house,
yeah,
turns out the police might think that you did the murder to them.
Yeah. But the whole burning from the inside is
hard to do. To do.
That's what I hear.
I'll tell you, I was watching a Gus video earlier in the week.
You're talking about Gus Danger Johnson?
Before I was watching the Gus video, and it was an older one, cooking with fireworks. They shove a bunch of sparklers into a hot dog and light it. And so I was thinking of that as like the whole time talking about this lady getting burned from the inside. I was like, oh my God, just make her swallow a bunch of sparklers and light them.
Oh my God.
It was, not very kind of me to think those thoughts.
So after that occurs, they end up spending the night in the same house, separately. One on the couch and one's in her room.
You're sleeping on the couch tonight, and you're never sleeping in the same bed with me again.
Wink.
Yeah, we know what's up.
Anyway. So then he wakes up in the middle of the night. We think it's a dream. The wifey is in the little kid's room, and something is happening. She turns to him, starts speaking to him in the kid's voice. Another just whoa moment.
Yeah.
And then you see that she's been like carving something into her arm.
Yeah, that's just that typical pastime activity.
Yeah. We find out that it's a Celtic symbol of like it's got like a crescent moon pointed toward the left, and then like a big moon in the middle. What is that called? A full moon. That's the one.
Big moon. Yeah.
Big moon. And then one pointed towards the right. They go and do some research, find out that like it's the maiden and the crone, and they end up finding like the backstory of like who actually took the son.
It's this Celtic witch, ye olde time lady.
Annie.
Can I do it super? I'll do it super fast. You ready?
Okay.
Old timey witch. People are mean to her. They kill her. She's upset, so she comes through the quote unquote other side, which is Spooky Town.
Because the veil is thin.
The veil is thin on Halloween, so she comes through and steals a kid. Well, you can jump through They learn this from some Celtic festival thing they go to. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
You're doing a really awful job.
Yeah, I got it. Then they realize that they can once a year.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Once a year, the kids that get taken by this lady coming through the veil. Did you hear my stupid cat?
He's not stupid. He's very sweet. Henry boy. He's rubbing his butt on me.
Stupid. Okay, so the jam is that if you, the very next year after your kid gets taken, you've got one shot at going through the thing to
all
get your kid back.
Are waking up.
Making so much noise, yeah.
Yeah, okay, continue, please. I am just enthralled.
So that's what Nick Cage does. Is on Halloween he goes and finds out, because of the pay the ghost thing, figures out where he can enter her realm. Correct?
She's Moaning Myrtle.
Where he can go visit Moaning Myrtle. He doesn't realize that he's got to get the special Nern root. Just kidding. Okay, so basically Nick Cage realizes that he can go through this portal to the other side to rescue his son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he does this. How's that? How does that all play out?
You really don't want to tell people what actually happens.
Nick Cage goes back.
No, stop right now. I'm not going to give you another chance.
Go ahead.
Annie Sauquin, she's the lady. She's the ghost, okay? So we learn that there was a flu going on at the time in 1776 or whatever.
And people didn't wear their masks or social distance.
Correct. And because she was all Celtic and stuff and she spoke a weird, funny language, the people thought that she was a witch. Of course, same old, same old. So we go back to the scene from the beginning of the film, and the kids, like, hear these people, like, taking their mom. She doesn't get murdered at the time. And then that stupid kid shouts out,
"Mother!"
Then
like that.
They steal the kids, and then they burn the kids at the stake. 3 children. This is important. And then they burn her. So she says a bunch of hoobity-doobity at the end.
Is that offensive to Celts?
I don't know.
Okay.
And she puts a curse on them, and she says that she'll be back like every year to like take 3 children. So that's what she's been doing since Hamilton was a boy.
Okay, that was I did a pretty good job.
No, you did not.
My version was solid.
No. And then, so Nick Cage finds out that he has to go and like pay this ghost. He already paid the ghost. He paid the ghost in children.
He has to go ask for his refund.
Yes, he does. He has to go see somebody's manager. So he does. He goes back to the blind man, and the blind man basically like he has to pay the troll toll. He's like, "Give me your watch." And Nick Cage is like, "How did you know?" And the blind man's like, "I'm blind as a bat, not deaf."
There you go. That's actually a frequent thing. Where people ask me how I did something, not realizing that y'all sighted folks are so overly reliant on what you can see that you can't even begin to imagine how much you really are using your other senses. None of you know it. And that's why you all are under this weird, bizarro land impression that we, the blind, have better hearing. We don't. Our hearing is just as good as yours. You're just so dependent on those silly little eyes of yours that you don't realize that oftentimes when someone's walking down the hallway, a big part of how you identify them before even looking in their general direction is their sound. So, there you go. Very common.
Also, we experience people talking to me when they see that Jordan is blind.
Oh my God, don't even.
Instead of talking to Jordan.
I mean, you walk into a place together, right? And people have no respect. And I think it is in some way just them panicking. But like we walked into a doctor's office together. more than a month ago at this point, mid, like in the peak COVID stuff. And so you have to put your mask on, right? Well, we had masks already. We walked in with them, but apparently we had to switch to masks that they wanted us to be wearing, different masks of some kind. So the lady hands Ashley 2 masks and says, you need to put this on, and he needs to put that on. And it's very common for people not to address me directly because for some reason they think that my blindness affects my ability to interact with them. It is very bizarre. Stop doing it. Stop it. End rant.
It's very strange. Okay.
So yeah, the blind guy basically assists him in finding the portal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, this is not like us just calling the blind guy. That's his name in the credits. Man. And also, there is this thing, I guess, about people first language, like a person who is blind as opposed to a blind guy. I don't necessarily mind. I do understand why other people would like the focus to be on them being a person that is blind rather than being a blind person. But for me, it's fine. You can call me a blind person. But in the case of this guy, that's his official listing in the credits. He's a blind guy. Yeah.
Yes. So Nick Cage, he goes into this portal into the other world.
Oh, sorry. I keep busting out. I'm just so excited there's a blind guy in this thing, man. So he hands Nick Cage a flashlight.
Oh yeah, this is that
joke. Hits him with the blind joke. You'll need this more than I would. Pretty good. You got him.
Is it true?
I don't use, like, I actually gave a flashlight away last weekend. I was camping and my nephew, I specifically brought it along to give to him because I just don't use them anymore. Now I will say, like, if I'm out with other people, like trudging through the woods in the middle of the night, it may be useful for me to also have a flashlight just to cast some extra light for them. But for me specifically, no. Yeah, I have no use for them. So yeah, he gives him the flashlight.
Yeah, and he goes into the portal.
She goes into the, what is it? The upside down and
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, right?
Yeah. He goes into the upside down. And he meets all the children that she's been taking throughout the years.
Like millennia's worth of children.
Yeah. And he says the kid's name, you know, the one name.
Marty?
And everyone raises their hand because, like, they all want to go home.
Yeah, like if you're like, hey, anyone in this restaurant, if there's a man named Bill, I'll give you $100.
Will the real Slim Shady
please
stand
up? Yeah, like immediately everyone's name is Bill, of course.
Yeah. He eventually finds his son and the 2 other kids that were taken last year. And so he's like, all right, we gotta stay together. So of course they get separated right away. And the witch comes to beat up Nicolas Cage and say, hey, don't you take those kids. Those kids belong to me now. And they go to fight each other. And then all the kids' spirits like come up and they beat up the witch and they save Nick Cage and the 3 children.
I could make another Lord of the Rings reference here, but I got a little bit tore up from that last one.
I don't think it was a Lord of the Rings one that you got tore up from, is it?
Oh, yeah. No, it was a
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Which there is a ghost ship scene where all the ghosts help in one of the fights.
Oh, yeah, Pirates, that's true.
Yeah. The guy that was really interested in finding the apple, one of our wonderful listeners, informed me that it's Captain Barbossa.
Not Bootstrap Bill.
Not Bootstrap Bill, yeah.
So anyway, everyone ends up happy.
They whip this old bitch's ass. Yeah. All these kids come up in there and they're like, listen, lady, you came around our part of town taking us, we're going to give back. And they dot both her I's and cross her T's. That's the language those kids were using, actually.
I bet.
They were using like street rat language.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're all from New York, so.
Like little urban redneck kid language. So then Nick Cage escapes with his son.
And the 2 other kids.
No, seriously, we have no reason to care about those kids.
We met the parents earlier in the movie.
Yeah. I guess we meet one of the parents and they speak Spanish. They talk about the
No.
Fantasma.
Yeah, no, that was from a couple of years ago.
Oh, a different. Okay,
Yeah.
but still, a kid that got took.
Yeah.
Her parents speak Spanish, and the
other girl, Mia, her parents own the restaurant.
See, yeah, a lot going on. I did have a little bit of trouble sticking with this movie. I found myself just kind of like zoning out a little bit because there were just large stretches of, again, no dialogue, no real useful audio or anything. So it was a lot of just nothingness for me. And without audio description, you're kind of just left to kind of sit there.
Yeah, and I asked at one point in time, like, do you need me to describe more?
And like the real answer is honestly like, and it does happen even with audio described movies, is you can only describe so much. Like if a person, like if part of the purpose of the movie is like a man, you get a 3-minute scene of a man just walking through a desert, there's not a whole lot you can describe between telling me that he started walking through the desert and he found some water or whatever it is. Like the point of some of these scenes is really to give you this sense of a long drawn out like either silence or task that someone's completing that happens like to not really have much sound at all. Like it is the nature of, not the nature, it's the point of some of those scenes, right?
Yeah, but I think like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that audio description does a good job of describing that to you.
Right, it does. Yeah, it fills a lot of that space, but even then, like sometimes you'll find audio described stuff leaving gaps because the point of the scene is for there to be that like drawn out,
like it's meant
like
to
almost
either
like
be
agony. Yeah,
uncomfortable.
like exactly. Yeah. So there wasn't really much more for you to even tell me about what was going on.
Yeah. So does it ever take away from a scene to have audio description for you?
Not on anything that I've noticed so far. And I haven't found anything that I've thought like that the audio description was particularly bad. There are definitely things, and I was trying to go through like stuff that I've watched in the last few months that had like particularly good audio description. And I'll try to get like a list together, maybe post on like Facebook or Insta or something, that like what I think are the best like handful of things in the last year or two that I've, the audio description is particularly good. But no, I honestly, I haven't noticed it ever diminishing the experience in any way.
So yeah, I don't feel like even in scenes where the silence is kind of a key part of like building the atmosphere, I just, most of the time it's just not intrusive, which is the point. The point is to get whatever information is required across without getting in the way. Okay. So I saw on Facebook recently, someone said the audio description for Borat or Bruno, one of those two movies, is just absolutely amazing because the audio describer is actually kind of getting into it, and you can tell it in parts he's trying not to laugh at what he's saying, which could be a little bit weird and take you out of it a little bit, I guess. But Borat and Bruno aren't necessarily movies where you're like immersed in some like, So like I'm interested in seeing what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely look that up.
But yeah, so I mean that's basically the end of the movie, right? Guy rescues kid.
Yeah.
We win.
Mm-hmm.
Go Nick Cage. Nick Cage wins.
Yes. So awards and nominations, they were all for the kid actor.
Oh.
There's one win, the Joey Award.
He's kidnapped most of the movie.
He's pretty good.
Okay.
He's got 2 nominations as well, and he's got the 1 win. Do you want to give me your rating?
I'm a little bit nervous because, is yours written down? Yeah. I trust that you're not going to just like go changing stuff or anything.
No, I wrote mine down before we even started recording.
8?
Mine is also 8.
Yeah, like, dude.
What? This is wild.
I thought, like, I really think, like I said earlier on, like, this movie slipped by. People did not notice this. It's
good.
Yeah. I think like even if you were spoiled by listening to this episode,
You'll really
you should go watch it
I think you will enjoy it. Like,
and it's spooky season. It's time to watch stuff like this.
Get those pumpkins out, sit next to the pumpkins on the couch, and have a look.
Do you want to guess what the IMDb rating is?
I'm gonna be disappointed in them.
Yeah, you
It's
are.
probably like 5.2, right?
Are you
No.
serious?
Is it 5.2?
It's 5.2.
I swear I did not look.
Don't lie to me.
I promise. I swear to the ghost.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Don't make me have to pay the
Kroner.
ghost.
What was her name? Kroner.
What?
What's
Soquin? Annie Soquin?
No, the ghost
Oh, the
had like
crone.
the crone.
Have you never heard the word crone before?
No, I've heard the word kroner, like
Like the money?
Danish money. Yeah,
No.
I've heard crown.
It's in a lot of like different like
spooky boys.
religions. If you had watched more than 10 minutes of Game of Thrones, you would have heard it a lot.
Dude, Game of Thrones isn't good. Come at me.
I'm sorry. I'm done talking to
Come
you.
at me.
No. Anyway, yeah, crone, it just means like a very old woman. So like there's the maiden who's like the virgin and young and stuff, and then there's often the mother who is like protective, and then the crone who is old.
I know about the hag. Do you know about the hag?
No.
Are you familiar with sleep paralysis?
Yes.
So it's like there are two common versions of like what you hallucinate with sleep paralysis. One is like a mouse rat creature that runs around the room and like you can't move, but you can like hear it and sense it like running around the room. And another is called the hag, which I have actually personally experienced with sleep paralysis.
Is this gonna freak me out?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
You good?
I don't know if I'm ready.
So you become awake, right, as sleep paralysis does. And there's just an old woman dripping wet, just like kneeling on your chest, looking down at you.
That is terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Yeah.
Goodbye. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the hag, and then the other one is that rat creature, which I have not experienced that, but I imagine that'd be pretty freaky too.
When did this happen to you?
A couple random times. One in particular when I was living in Lafayette, like down. I can't remember which apartment it was. It was one of those apartments when I was living on the east side. It happened a few times. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does not feel good.
Woof.
Yeah, it sticks with you too.
Yeah. Ugh.
So yeah, I hadn't heard the word crone before this. So, but yeah.
That's wild.
Spooky old lady, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, we were going to talk about people discussing episodes on the promos.
I really enjoyed that on the last episode. Well, I guess as of recording this, we kind of record in a weird order, a little bit ahead and stuff. But people have been like kind of talking about the episodes on the promo posts on Facebook. I'm really digging that.
Yeah,
like
it's
seeing,
awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome to get to like interact with people, have them interacting with us, correcting us, like we've been asking every single episode. So
yeah, correct
far.
me on Lord of the Rings stuff. Correct me on Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. Like hit me, make me. I'm dumb.
Jordan's just wrong.
I'm good. So like, here's what I figured out. I'm really good at being almost right about something.
Yeah, you have a lot of like almost knowledge.
I'm close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at getting pretty close.
Like crone.
Yeah. I'm almost there most of the time.
Yeah, so please keep chatting with us, keep chatting with each other about the episodes. That's really awesome. Do you think we should, has anyone else had these like sleep paralysis
yeah, tell
episodes?
me, send us your sleep paralysis tales.
To our email. Please email us.
Yeah.
siteattendant@gmail.com.
Yeah, I mean, we're hitting near the spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably have a couple. I would like to focus these next couple of episodes and maybe a handful, just do a run of like the spookier stuff that he's done. Mm-hmm. Just to stay like in the spooky vibe. And I'm sure he's got some Christmas movies we can kind of not necessarily like very strictly adhere to like season,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, spooky season, hit some spooky stuff. Christmas season, hit some Christmas stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
stick with it wherever we can. But obviously, I mean, it's not necessarily going to be a Nicolas Cage St. Patty's Day movie. So
You don't know.
I don't. I mean, I've been
But
pretty
it'll
surprised.
also like give you the opportunity to like compare spooky movies that do or do not have audio description. So
Right, because we're so in the next month or 2 or 3, whatever it is, we are going to be hitting some spooky stuff. And I know, like, so we watched Midsommar in particular. It does not have audio description, but you did the coolest thing. I think one of the coolest things you've ever done for me, which was you found the actual script
Mm-hmm.
and read scene direction from the script, scene by scene for that movie.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. It made that movie experience a perfect experience. It was awesome. So, but obviously we're gonna watch that again. We're probably gonna watch Hereditary. You gotta hit the classics.
You could watch Insidious.
I'm down. Yeah, Insidious is really good.
The Strangers is canceled for me.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. It's I think one of my favorite like horror movies.
Oh no, it's good.
Like it's really good. But it's mildly based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
So like once you learn that, it's kind of tough. It's a rough one.
Like once you actually like learn about the story, and it's been touched on like 100 different
all the true crime podcasts. Everyone's talked about it, but so there's that. There's what are some other good
I
ones?
dig Sinister. Sinister is one of my
Sinister's
faves.
good. Yeah,
It's like loosely based on Slender Man.
Yeah, have you seen Mama?
No, that's the
really
one with Jennifer What's her face, right?
Not sure who you're talking about. Not
And Javier Bardem.
I don't know. I mean, I'm down with any movie with him in it because he's awesome. But yeah, I don't remember who's in Mama. I just remember it being kind of pretty good.
Yeah, I've not
How
seen
about
that
Creep?
one yet. Oh yeah,
Creep is
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna obviously none of those that we just listed are Nick Cage ones, but we're gonna be hitting all the spooky movies. I mean, it's spooky season. We're here.
You know, by the time this comes out, we're going to have released our very first
Sex tape. I don't know what you're
we've
talking.
already
Very first
released
one.
our first one. It'll be the sequel by then. No, our first unattended episode.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
Mhm.
are we going heavy or are we going light?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Because we talked about doing some pretty heavy shit, and then we talked about doing some light, goofy fun.
Oh, yeah, we can just go. We'll figure
Feel
it
it out. Yeah.
So yeah, we could probably talk about some non-Nick Cage movies during spooky season.
Yeah. So,
I think we just have the fact.
do we have any
Nick
like
Cage
listener
fact?
feedback? I think I hit some listener feedback earlier with the Barbosa
Yeah, on
thing.
the Barbosa thing. We talked about, so we've gotten some listener feedback about just like more blind stuff. People want to learn more blind stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, along that line, if you have any specific question, shoot it our way on any of the social medias or use the email. We're, still, our email is still a virgin little email.
Site attendant.
Siteattendant. Waiting for its first partner. So if you want that to be yourself, shoot us an email.
Yeah, if you have questions, I mean, there's definitely the possibility of doing like live Q&As in the future, or just like addressing questions as they come up. But yeah, ask more questions. If you want to hear about more blind stuff, more audio description stuff,
more Nick Cage stuff,
we're definitely here for that. We've got a long road ahead of us.
So, hit me with that fact.
Did you know that Nicolas Cage once tried to write a horror novel?
No. Why tried?
So,
there is no try.
Well, he specifically, to set the mood for writing this horror novel, as it is spooky season.
Oh, dog, I know where you're going with this, and I'm pumped.
He bought the LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't own it anymore, right? He
No.
sold it.
No. It got foreclosed.
Oof.
2 years later.
He had some rough times.
Yeah, and he did not finish the novel.
Gosh. Well, I mean, I hope one day we get to experience whatever that is.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, speaking of spooky season stuff, those horror novels, I am on a journey similar to our Nick Cage journey right now to read every piece of Stephen King fiction. He's, I think other people know this, like this is like a known fact, but he's really good. Do you know that?
And like an author?
Yeah, he writes really good stuff.
Yeah, I've heard. I feel like I've read probably a couple.
No, I just finished it, and I'm jumping back into the Dark Tower too. But I've read a pretty good chunk of like his most popular works, and I'm hitting some of the.
You haven't read Insomnia though.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's a huge list of, obviously a huge list of his works, but there's a huge list of stuff that I have not read that I'm very excited to read. That's one of them. Carrie is one of them. And The Shining is kind of just looming over me as one that I've read the first few chapters and ended up jumping to a different one. So, but yeah, spooky season. We are super pumped.
We are spooky. So yeah, again, hit us up, email, social media, site attendant. Make sure you're telling people about us if you're enjoying our stuff. And if you're not enjoying our stuff and not sharing our stuff, tell us why so we can change it.
We're not going to change anything. We're amazing and we know it.
Okay.
Just come on the social medias and talk that mad shit.
Yeah. Who should they tell this time?
Honestly, I mean, school's back in session. So if you're in the college, honestly, even if you're teaching, tell all your students. If you're in class, tell all your classmates.
Yeah, if you're a teacher or a professor, because our stuff is explicit, so they should probably be over the age of 18. But you can just, talk about like, hey, accessibility. That's important to everyone. It should be important to everyone.
Access for all. Very important.
And to all a good night.
Exactly. You got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Love you. Bye.